Hello, everyone. We have with us Deepti, who scored rank 39 in UPSC CSE 2023. She was a part of the VK IAS Mentorship programs and answer writing programs, and one of the earliest students who followed the channel very regularly and actually displayed that grit and resilience throughout her preparation, that consistency. One of the youngest folks who got into the IAS this year. Welcome, Deepti, and congratulations for your stupendous scores across the general studies papers and also your optional.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yeah. So can you just introduce your background to the students who are watching this?
Yeah. So, sir, I have done my graduation in geography honors from Miranda House in 2021. And since, say, past 2 years, I've been preparing for the examination.
So this is your second attempt, right?
Yes, the second attempt.
What happened in the first?
Sir, in the first attempt, I believe that the core reason was I was very overconfident and was not doing the head down execute strategy that I meticulously followed in this attempts between the prelims and the mains time. Because in the first attempt, when we clear prelims in the very first attempt, it is like as if we have cleared the examination. So I got swayed there, and then I think with the right mindset, this rank this time.
How much did you score in geography this year?
Sir, I scored 323 marks, 177 in paper 1 and 146 in paper 2.
How about the previous time? How much did you score?
Yeah, so it was 219 marks.
219 say 321.
323. Yes, sir.
What made the difference?
Sir, many things actually. First would be the newspaper reading, and for that I regularly followed your channel. And since magazine covering was very difficult for me to cover it, like so much of content in such less of time, so I believe daily reading the newspaper and following your channel so that there is any previous article that is linked. So I think newspaper reading, collecting examples, unique examples, and the very recent ones made my answers, I think, new or fresh. That gave a very new perspective. I think that is one key. Second, I would say that referring to the books, like the basic books, I was over relying on the coaching notes, which I feel it's not the right approach. Sticking to the basic books with any value addition would be the right strategy.
I remember when you approached me for the first time after your first mains result came out. You were very disturbed because you were expecting an interview call and that didn't happen. What was your state of mind at that point of time? Did you have a roadmap on where you went wrong? Did you introspect where you went wrong? What was your learning after the first failure?
Yes, sir. So first failure was not even expected, as you said. I was very confident of the exam. I mean, I've not left any question. But when the result came, I was literally shattered. For the 1 week, I couldn't figure out where the things, went wrong. Then I joined your answer writing program. And when I wrote down the answers regularly, so it became a habit actually that I have to submit these many answers daily. So firstly, it got me a good practice that I have to write answers daily, and the evaluation was also quick. So I could course correct and I could understand, okay, this mistake I made in the previous attempt, and now I'll not make it. Secondly, the linkage with the current affairs got sorted. And thirdly, I believe, which is most important, is the psychological support that you gave after the short note that you're writing consistently. I'm sure you will get it. So that mental barrier that am I not worthy or the exam is too difficult, that got cleared, and I sought clarity.
Yes. The reason why I gave that validation for you is because you were the only student who was very consistent. Like, I always believe consistency outsmarts intelligent people any day. You were spot on. Like, whenever I was expecting you to submit, you submitted it, and whatever feedback I gave, you worked upon it. You used you went the extra mile instead of expecting spoon feeding. So I'll have to congratulate you for that. Like, it was tremendous effort, very consistently. It didn't take a lot of time, I believe. Like, it was probably an hour or two every day, but you still did it. You did not overdo, you trusted the strategy, and the result is obviously going to be positive. And I really want to tell everyone through this, no matter what your strategy is, she's an example. If you believe in some strategy, you have to stick to that strategy from the beginning till the end. What is your opinion on this? Like, did you get swayed in the middle? Like, did you want to change your strategy, or execution on a daily basis that gave you some progress in your situation and you got confidence?
Yes, sir. So after the I couldn't clear the mains cutoff, then one day and that's it. I mean, I was not thinking too much whether will I clear the examination or not, because a lot of our time goes wasted in that. I was consistent ki these are my tasks and this is one day and I'll complete it. That's it.
Right.
So I think when our focus is very narrow, it really helped.
So a lot of aspirants ask, what material did you follow? Do you think material plays that big and important role, or consistency? What is your opinion on this?
Sir, I think material is same everywhere, but and everybody works hard. I mean, whoever I mean is very true to the process is working hard. But I think right direction is something wherein people, that would make a difference whether somebody succeed in this examination or not. So I think right direction is very crucial. And I think in your DP also you have done that. If just by 1 point you increase the efforts, the final outcome increases tremendously, which will not realize in the short term, because the graph is this and then eventually there is an inflection point and then it rises. But till the point we reach the inflection point, that is the tough part, and there we have to have trust in the process.
Exactly. So I always suggest this book called The Atomic Habits. That's something that has changed my life, and I advocate the same thing to all the students. You have to trust the process. Look at all the people who have achieved greatness in their respective fields. Unless and until we get better in our process, we will not get the desired outcome. Most of us focus on the outcome rather than the process. So again, thanks for reaffirming my faith in the process and showing that it will indeed give results. I mean, students like you who trust this process are definitely a testimony for people like me who will continue to put that effort. So thank you for that again. Uh, Moving to the strategy for different phases of the examination, let's begin with prelims. What did you do for prelims?
So for prelims, my strategy would be very strong with the static part. And current is very endless in prelims. But there are few topics only, say environment or science and tech, wherein current affairs play a very crucial role, no doubt. But static is the main component that needs to be focused. And there needs to be a knack of solving the questions, which will come through PYQs, and not just solving them, but analyzing even the wrong options. So that I did meticulously, regularly, and especially I think 1 month before the prelims. That I mean, very small effort, say waking up on the right time and doing the test on that particular time period which is allocated, sleeping on that particular day. So very, very small efforts will give the good results. And it's not just about the studies. I mean, many things, very, very small, minute things needs to be in
Discipline.
place for that.
Yes, discipline. I remember you were the most disciplined. That's why I gave that context to people who didn't know this. You were bang on time. If I'm expecting your answer at 11 a.m., I got it at 10:59 a.m. sometimes. So again, it's very good that you maintain that consistency. Now, when you say PYQs and analysis, what do you mean by analysis exactly? Because everybody says the same thing. What is analysis here? Can you just give us a small, brief context or an example to help the aspirants understand this?
Yes, sir. Sir, in science and tech, for example, a question has been asked on, say, mRNA technology. And in 1 year, they will just focus on the keyword because that is the current part. But on next year, one level deep, they will ask the questions. So if we are aware, okay, these are the topics that are coming, say mRNA technology, recombinant DNA technologies, and all that. So we can focus more on that. Secondly, in subjects such as, say, history, the wrong options are very directly framed with the next year, the same question. So I think It depends subject wise. I mean, in history, you need to follow a say
Longer
20,
years
25 years. Yeah, longer year strategy. In science and tech, the technology plus the very new
new
happenings that
updates.
are, yeah.
And environment, what was the strategy in environment?
Sir, environment में there is a static component, but mostly it is current affairs and PYQ based. Say a national park has been asked. I think I remember there was one question on critical tiger habitat in which act it is mentioned, and in some year that particular question has been made one option. So these things I followed. And sir, mapping is very important in environment. The national park, river-based mapping, then tiger reserve and all that. So I think current affairs plus the static mapping part, that is the key in environment section.
So what did you do exactly for the mapping section and places in use?
So some mapping was covered in my geography optional paper 2 preparation. So I did not allocate a separate time slot for the mapping part. And but for the prelim specifically, I did a juggling of the part, say river and national park. So some topics I did it like together.
So using maps is a very effective strategy in your opinion. Okay.
Yes, sir, because in one page, whatever places is there, we have a pictorial memory that gets stored.
Correct.
So even if we are not remembering the exact state or, the river that is asked, but we have this picture, okay, this part, this in this page, the right-hand corner, a place was mentioned. So it become very easy in prelims, wherein we just have to guess the right option.
Now coming to the mains part, especially in GS paper 1, a lot of people scored below par scores, as in they expected some better scores, but that did not translate into actual result. But you scored 100 marks in GS1 also, where people were scoring in 80s. Of course, your geography strategy must have definitely added value in the paper 1. But I remember you were struggling a bit in society when you were writing the answers in PYQs and other society answers, basically. What was the strategy you followed for Indian society part, the sociology part of GS1?
Yes, sir. So I've realized that I was writing very mechanical answers. In geography, we are supposed to write the facts and the examples and the diagrams, but it's not the appropriate strategy for the society part, wherein more analysis, more words are required to write.
Right.
So rather than writing short point-wise format, I switched to a longer point-wise format.
Right.
So that helped, and so giving recent examples in society. And there are some very obvious examples, say in NGO part or in society part, but there are some very current examples that can be added. Say the Manipur issue was in news. So
Right.
I tried to link it to tribal issue, to internal conflicts and everything. So one example and using it, in various dimensions. I think that helped.
So you mean to say even here the newspapers were very helpful?
Yes, sir, very helpful.
There are a lot of people who believe that newspapers reading is not necessary and they would be okay with magazines. Not that it is a wrong strategy. Why do you believe that magazines did not work out for you? And why daily newspaper reading and picking up stuff from that consistency of reading newspapers helped you?
So initially, I also picked up this thought that newspaper reading might probably take a lot of time. However, after few months, I've realized that covering such dense current affairs magazine in such short span of time, it's very unproductive, because first we are not able to make the linkages across the sections. We are just passively reading the text. Secondly,
Right.
there is a lot of static part that is repeated. So rather than focusing on one static content that needs to be revised multiple times, we are reading the same part again and again in the magazine, just with the words changed. So I think here comes the daily newspaper reading, which is firstly the linkages are made when we start slow, say 1 hour daily. I know this might seem a lot of time, but I think the gains are very high, because we are able to make the linkages, we are able to add value add to our notes, and we are doing it calmly. We are not in rush of completing the magazine in few days.
Right. Okay. So What was your score in GS2?
Sir, it is 120.
What worked out? Like a lot of people scored above 105, 110, and even your score is in a bit of higher range. Like you were one of the top scorers in GS. So again, did anything change in GS2, or because there's a lot of information, even newspaper articles repeat the same themes again and again. How did you go about it?
Sir, I believe in GS2 also, just writing the mechanical points would not work. There is more analysis required, especially in the IR part, wherein it is a very interesting mix of giving very current examples, say AUKUS was in news, and all these examples are fine, but analysis part also needs to come with the right keywords, say balanced constitutionalism or multilateralism. And secondly, I quoted the quotes or the sayings by famous people, say our external affairs minister or our foreign affairs minister, the ex-NSA members, whatever unique keyword they used to give, I used to write in the conclusion. So I think that gave a new perspective. And in polity, I think static everybody covers, but linking it with current and making the content dense. I mean, the answer should look as if the pages
Back to
have been given
punch.
justice. Yeah, yes, sir.
And how much did you score in GS3?
Sir, I think it is around 96, if I'm recalling correctly.
Right. A lot of people struggle. Even in your first attempt, you scored a bit lower on GS3, or was it?
Yes, sir,
I
it
don't
was
remember.
90. It was
Right.
90.
It was still better than a lot of people. So in GS3, what was your strategy? Were your answers specific, or you think they were generic?
So they were very specific, but I think in GS3, the key that I have observed is analyzing whatever subparts are being asked. Because in this year paper, even if the questions seem very simple, but it has 4 subparts, even in 10 markers. So if we write, say, 2 points in one subpart, and somebody is writing very much elaborately on just one subpart, will not fetch marks compared to somebody who has written less, but all the subparts are mentioned. So I believe GS3 is very tricky in that sense, that space is less, but we have to, there's a lot of content and we have to write, all the subparts need to be given justice.
Right. So there is a formulaic approach generally when people say that for a 10 marker, you have to write 10 points, and for a 15 marker, if you write 15 marks, you'll get 15 points, you'll get the marks. Do you think there needs to be a context for that suggestion, or writing 10, 15 points or dragging the same point, like you have 1 point and break it down into 2 points will give you marks?
Sir, we overwrite points when we don't know and when we are repeating the answer. Say, for example, there was a question on climate change and food security. So if we say, if we make 3 points, say cropping impacted, livestock and fisheries impacted, this is exact. In reality, it is just 1 point of food availability. So if we see in that context, it is just 1 point. There are many other points, say accessibility, affordability, sustainability, etc. So I think making it dense would work rather than writing so many number of points, wherein the examiner is confused that where should I give the marks?
So this is the suggestion I always had. Like people try to say that maybe write 10 points in 10 marker will work. I had a different opinion because the content, the point that you're trying to make should take primacy over the number of points and number of pages you're filling. And guys, this is testimony to the fact Deepti had been consistently working on GS3 right from first attempt. And she had that knack of writing the most relevant stuff. So that really worked out in her favor. What was the score in GS4 ethics?
Sir, it is 125.
Again, a very good score. What was your, first attempt score in ethics?
Sir, it was, I think, 115.
Okay. What was your ethics strategy?
Sir, basic static part, though it's like very basic, but the more the value addition and more the marks, say writing the quotes, writing the examples, and that too examples from the newspaper. And I think GS4 is mix of all the 3 GS. So examples from GS1, 2, 3 can be added here, but with, say, a keyword mentioned so that it should not look very mechanical. If you're writing the Manipur conflict issue, it should be added with, say, effective administration. So I think writing the keywords with the example is the key. And here I relied a lot on topic copies, wherein I understood that there is something different in GS4. So I think, sir, yes, the basic part is it's all right, but there needs to be a lot of value addition and answer writing practice for ethics.
Right. You had this knack of writing good answers in ethics. Like that was not your weak point right from day one. So I told you that you have to just stick to your strategy in ethics with us. So other aspects of the preparation. Now that you're done with mains, there's a very important question. How many hours did you study in a day? Like did you study for 16 hours a day?
So 16, I never clocked. Once I clocked 15 hours in between the prelims and the mains time. But when I clocked 15, the next day I couldn't study even 10. So I believe the number of hours counting is very important. I mean, I used an app called YPT to count the number of hours, but just counting doesn't work. So, and the number of our hours are also variable. On average, I used to study 6 to 8 hours, but when the prelims is coming near or the time between prelims and mains, I think that is very crucial. That even, I mean, every minute something is going on regarding the examination. So it is variable across the time span.
So the next important question is, I remember you were very panicky during the interview. And what was your state of mind? Like, what do you think will help aspirants going forward? I remember you being very underconfident, and then it did impact your score to an extent.
Yes, sir.
On a different day, I know that you would perform much better. So what went,
Yes, sir.
according to you, what was the thing that could have been better? What is your suggestion for, because with that kind of a score, you would have been in an all India rank 1 in GS. What is your suggestion? Nevertheless, you're still getting into the desired service and desired header. But if there is someone who's sailing through this, what is your suggestion for them?
Sir, I think I made the blockage myself because 19th December is the date when the interview schedules came, and mine was on the very first day. And nobody expects that there will be such short span of time. And
Right.
I was thinking that is so unfair to somebody who's giving first day interview and probably somebody who will give 3 months. So that would make a very huge amount of difference. So I remember you were saying that it's not about the content. I mean, you need to be yourself, be confident, and then give the answer. Because it is not just 3 months of preparation that will add to your score, but the whole year what you have studied. But where I lagged, I believe, is I lost the trust in my whole year preparation. And I was just looking at that short span of time. That became the majority part of my thinking. But there also, I think, sir, you helped a lot. And I think confidence is really important. In one phase, I faltered on the confidence part and it showed in my results. So I think confidence is really important, sir.
So, do you have any other suggestions for people who are, preparing now? Any vital points that you think will add a lot of value?
So one thing I would say that please know yourself, because this examination is not just about the content, writing, etc. That is there, but who are you as a person? In which field or in which subjects you find it more interesting, where you can maximize your score? Or even if there is some difficulty, don't be too timid to accept that this is an area that needs to be worked upon. Secondly, I would say that find new ways of learning. When I was unable to study after my first means failure, I was not able to study, though I wanted to, because there was a mental barrier created. So I remember I sat with my mom and we discussed how to go about it. So making use of say family members also involving in the preparation is really helpful, because there was just 1 hour me and my mom used to discuss history portion, which is so memorable. I mean, it requires memory, but when you're so much stuck up in your mind, that is not coming out. So I think finding unique ways of studying, not just, I mean, break the monotony of studying. That I was, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thirdly, I would say that when all these things are sorted, it's about head down execution. There are a lot of problems in everyday life, and we tend to make it very big. that is very normal, but we should understand that it's about the number of hours or the number of hard work that we put in. So I think being very clear and focused in the approach might work.
Did you have peer pressure or the fear of missing out on any of these things like material or social life or anything, or you were focused in your execution?
So both, I would say. I was focused because one, I did not have a social life, because and at some times I was not focused because I don't have a social life. So it varied. I mean, at times I was like, I just have to do the task. I don't have to talk to anybody. So I'll be very focused. At times you need people. I mean, it's very lonely journey, and you need people to understand that what you're going through is normal, and the anxiety, the peer pressure, the FOMO, that is all right. But
Right.
I think you need some space for yourself to, to
Be
maintain
aware
the
of this.
sanity.
So it's all about, that fine balance, accepting that you have picked this journey intentionally by choice, and this is the byproduct of that. And it's completely fine. You have to trust the process, and you've done it wonderfully. So thank you, Deepti, for giving us your time and telling all the people about your journey and all the lessons that you've learned this week. And thank you for being such a good student and uh, trying to, set an example for the next generations. I'm sure you will have a very fruitful career going ahead, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.